my team wins now.
All right, we are live. Welcome into the first ever live episode of the Calcio Connection podcast, connecting with you, Italian football fans from all over the world. So Jerry Mancini was just in the process a couple seconds ago of cursing out Mario Gagliano because he held us up. The reason why we're starting 3 minutes late here is because we were waiting for Mario. But I love it. We already have a couple people in there. We appreciate you guys hopping aboard. And if you have any questions you want to throw them in on the chat. Just a warning. I'm the one who's working the chat here. And I am like barely technologically inclined above like a baby boomer level. So if anything gets screwed up, you can totally blame me for that. I am Alex Donno, alongside my co-host, as always, Jerry Mancini. And we're alongside a big cast of characters. Ricky Buzz is with us. Ricky's going to help bring the Inter. Actually, you know what? We're surrounded by Interisti. This is not even a fair fight here. So Ricky's a fellow Interista. Mario is a fellow Interista. We have the Milan perspective. I know Miguel Agyei is going to hold it down. He does a great job. And of course, Jerry is Mr. Lazio. One of the first comments is asking what happened to my mustache. Yeah, for the past 2 days, I was rocking a pretty hideous stash. But my wife basically threatened divorce. I had to trim it off. I had to get rid of it. It was like biker motorcycle cop. It was really, really nasty. But before I introduce everybody else, let me introduce Jerry officially. Jerry, I was rooting for Lazio and Coppa Italia, although I'm a fraud because I did bet on Atalanta. But your guy at Cherby scored a freaking ridiculous goal, cutting into the box, dribbling four guys like Messi. So despite the loss midweek, Jerry, how you doing?
Not bad. It must have been Manscaped, man. That's probably what helped him.
Yeah, we're going to be welcoming in the next few days the newest sponsor to our pod. I don't know if we can make it official until the weekend, but we are sponsored by Manscaped now. And if you guys you want to order some of the great packages at manscaped.com, you can use our code Calcio and get 20% off. So that's pretty sweet. Ricky Buzz is like the hero who actually put us all together. Like he encouraged us to plan a mid-season review. So I wanted to introduce Ricky next. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Fireworks and all this week with the derby.
Oh, we're going to get into that. And Miguel Agyei, Milano Miguel, is going to help us get into some of that. Miguel, how you been, man?
I'm good, man. Just trying to recover after that derby loss.
That was freaking wild. And I could see Mario smirking and smiling. He's a fellow Interista. And I know why Mario's smiling. Because it wasn't just a derby win for Inter. Who scored the game-winning goal? I don't know anybody who stands harder for Christian Eriksen than Mario Gagliano. Eriksen has been his Twitter avatar. You know, the times that we record on Skype and Mario joins in, he's got Eriksen as his background. Like this guy... Conte has not believed in Eriksen for a long time, but Mario has never lost his belief for Eriksen. Mario, you must feel like a hero today. How you doing?
I'm prophet. I don't know. My man Christian Eriksen comes out of nowhere, saves the day in the biggest game this season so far. I've ever been this excited for a game
so far. What the hell?
I was yelling. My neighbors were knocking on my door. My girlfriend or fiance, she almost freaking killed me because I was going crazy. What a time.
I honestly think that Conte had it all planned out, man. Honestly. That was all Conte scripted, man. Don't worry.
He's been trying for that for like the whole season. He's like, oh, let me put him on the last 5 minutes and maybe he'll hit a free kick and I can start this guy or something. Who knows? Like, nuts.
So let me get into, not only was usually we would never talk this much about a Coppa Italia match, but that was a vintage Milan derby. I mean, it had everything. It had, a near brawl. It had a lot of physicality. Hell, even the lead referee had to leave the game for a pulled muscle late in the game. And you had the theatrics of, a 97th minute game winner. And there was so much stoppage time. There was so much added time in the game, 10 minutes, because of the pause for the referee having to leave the game. So there were 10 minutes of added time. And then Christian Eriksen gets that free kick. But I want to start, guys, with really what it has everybody talking from that match. and that was the verbal scuffle that Romelu Lukaku got into with Zlatan. Now, I want to get everybody's take on this because I think maybe, the remark that has everybody talking is what, Zlatan said about Lukaku with voodoo. And I know that what he was bringing up, it was a jab of, several years ago when Lukaku left Everton. One of the Everton owners had made some comment about like his mother, decided to do it based on voodoo. It was a ridiculous, terrible thing to say, and it wasn't true. But this isn't something that like Zlatan made up out of thin air. And so, when a lot of people saw that comment, I know that there are some people out there, calling Zlatan a racist. And I don't think that was the intent, at least not from the way that I saw it. I don't think his intent was to make a racist remark. I think he was definitely saying something that was trying to get under Lukaku's skin. And, both guys end up getting a lot of things were said. I mean, Lukaku saying something about his wife, and, Zlatan said something about his mother, and they were going back and forth for a long time. But that's the scuffle that has everyone talking. And I want to get the Milan perspective first, Miguel. I mean, how were you reacting to that whole situation? And you kind of came out of it saying what? Like, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, initially, I was watching the game and I saw that, Romagnoli fouled Lukaku. And then I was like, oh, snap, Lukaku's kind of pissed. Like, that wasn't a dirty foul. It was a bit of, an unnecessary foul. But then initially when he started to argue with Zlatan, I could hear that someone was saying, you're shit. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's trash talking right now. It wasn't until when Paulo Valeri blew the halftime whistle and the players were leaving the pitch where Lukaku needed to be restrained. And I was like, oh, snap, this is serious. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, Lukaku doesn't act like this. The only reason why he would act like this if something racist was said. Now, I know Milan. None of their players are racist. The club often speaks out against racism. We saw it happen last year with the Serie A campaign with the monkey thingy that went on. So I was like, it's definitely not something racist. But then when I figured out what happened, because I was like, oh, yo, Twitter, do your thing. What did this person say? What did that person say? I realized that it was just, banter. Zlatan was literally just trying to get into Lukaku's head. It worked. And Lukaku just lost it. Yeah, sure. He made a yo mama joke, but Lukaku said something along the lines that was as equal. So it's just banter. I don't think it's serious. I don't think there's any racism. It's just, it was a derby and emotions got high, tensions got high. A fight almost brew, and that's it. That's that. The players have come out and said, Zlatan came out and said he's not racist. Lukaku didn't say anything. I bet he just posted a picture of Inter celebrating. So I think that was that. It was just a derby. And this is what we like to see in derbies. We like to see the fights, I was worried that Lukaku would have gotten a red card at one point, but that didn't happen. So
yeah, honestly, I thought that either guy or both guy might have gotten a red card because they kept jawing at each other and they kept coming back together. I do want to ask you, Miguel, one more thing. And, I thought Mo had a good question here in the chat. Can we ask Miguel, since he's the only Milanista here, about the decisions? And let me know if I leave anything out here. I mean, obviously, there was the penalty that was awarded to Inter on the, I think it was Leao fouling Barella. And then we had the Zlatan ejection for the second yellow. How did you feel about those? And if there's anything else I'm leaving out?
Well, as to the Zlatan yellow, I thought that was kind of soft because throughout the entire game, Zlatan didn't foul any player. He got the yellow card for the scuffle with Lukaku. Halftime came. Paulo Valeri could have at least given Zlatan a warning before giving him a red card. I think that foul was a stupid foul, yes, of course. But I didn't think it needed to warrant a yellow because that yellow completely shifted the momentum of the game, and Inter took advantage of that. As to the decisions that were made, I've seen a lot of videos on the slide tackle with Leao on Barella, and some angles make it seem like Leao didn't touch him. Other angles make it seem like he did touch him. In my opinion, that tackle was stupid from Leao. Regardless, he didn't need to slide tackle like that, extending his leg like that. And because he extended his leg like that, I think that is why the penalty was given. A lot of Interisti are also pointing out how in the last derby there was a penalty that was missed. So this is basically Milan's karma. The penalty was given. There's nothing we can do about it. It was scored by Lukaku. That's that. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and like a lot of people were saying, I've never seen Lukaku take a penalty kick with as much gusto as he took that one. It's like he was pretending the ball was Zlatan's head.
Yeah.
I want to bring in Ricky on this conversation. Ricky, when that little scuffle was going on, when Zlatan and Lukaku were jawing at each other, and I thought Miguel was right. I've never seen Lukaku lose his cool like that. Like at any point, obviously I paid more attention to him at Inter, but even at United and with Belgium, I've never seen Lukaku look that like angry and perturbed before. So what were you thinking while that whole situation was unfolding?
Yeah, like Miguel had said. Oh, make sure. Yeah. Like Miguel had said, at first I thought it was something racist that had been said, like maybe from an official, similar like the Besiktas game with PSG. But when I saw that it was him and Zlatan going at it, I'm like, oh snap, something's about to go down.
Yeah. Zlatan is like a master instigator. I mean, and just a few days prior, you had the comment to Duvan Zapata about how I've scored more goals than you've played games in your career. It's so this guy is always trying to rattle people. Mario, what were your thoughts on everything that went on with Lukaku and Zlatan?
I think what really bothered Lukaku the most was that he thought Zlatan was his boy. So that's probably why the voodoo comments really bothered him so badly, and talking about his mother and all that, obviously. But because if you look, I watched a video from when Lukaku and Ibrahimovic were playing at Manchester United together. Zlatan only had good things to say. He was like, he makes my job easy, coming from the MLS, and it's a transition. He opens up the game for me, whatever he said. He went into a whole interview about how Lukaku and him worked together and the whole thing. So I feel like it was more Lukaku felt betrayed in the moment. And I didn't really think it was racially motivated because, like I said before, they've been trying to fight racism in Serie A for so long, and now without the fans, there's literally no excuse for the players. But I was listening, and I'm like, the whole time, I'm like, are these guys fighting English? Because I hear like shit, and I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, what, did Zlatan learn Belgian just to talk shit to Lukaku at this point? Because
that would be a very Zlatan move if he did that.
Would be the most
he would learn Belgian just to shit talk somebody.
He would do that. He's like, it's like Mark Wahlberg from the other guy. He's like, yeah, I learned how to do ballet so I can talk shit to all these kids that I bully. So it's like, I'm like, and then as it just progressed, I'm like, oh my God, these guys are just going on and on and on. It's like, oh, your mother, no, your mother. And then I'm like, and then I hear Lukaku, who honestly, I have to play both sides of this. His remarks are no better than what Zlatan said, because he's like, he said, F you and your wife, I'll shoot you. You can't play the victim and then say something like that. So I feel like all the Interisti are just looking past that. I don't think either of them are right, but you can't put the whole thing on Zlatan. Defense or not.
Had the last laugh, though.
I mean, yeah, he did. And on the yellow card, I think it's a yellow, because if I'm the referee, that's a yellow card offense. It's not a warning offense, especially with what's going on. You're gonna allow an Inter player to then go at Zlatan, go at Leao, at whoever, and then from there, then you bring out more red cards than one red card, and the game, you're gonna completely lose the game. They're just gonna be fighting back and forth if he doesn't do anything. So he had to give that second yellow, in my opinion, because it's going to turn into a shit show otherwise.
Well, and the thing for me, and I'll bring Jerry in on for a second. The thing for me on the second yellow was that's just a dumb challenge there. I mean, to make that challenge from behind, I just thought that was poor judgment. I can understand why people thought that, hey, that was a little bit soft as a second yellow, right? I mean, if he didn't already have a yellow, then, and I know Mario's shaking his head because I understand you should treat every foul independently. I'm just saying it doesn't usually get done that way, especially not in the Serie A. Like referees know this guy's on a yellow. Maybe I'm not going to give him a second yellow. But that doesn't excuse how dumb it was, because I really thought that Zlatan should have known better to attempt that challenge in the first place. So then, yeah, people can argue if it was soft. I thought it was fun. It was. Oh, go ahead, Mario.
But would you give that as a first yellow card?
I think you would. Yeah.
That's absolutely. Exactly I agree.
Yeah. That's exactly why it's a second yellow card offense.
Yeah.
It's not a soft. It's a yellow card. End of story. Because
he breaks up a play. It's a scoring opportunity. He breaks it up, and that's it. It at the end of the day, if you're breaking up a scoring play, it's warrant a yellow card. It's unfortunate that it was the second one because of his first one was really stupid, but that's it. That's as much as I see it. Now, am I prohibited from swearing tonight, Alex, or am I free to go?
No, just treat. I think I've already sworn, so you're due.
Okay, I am. Oh, I'm so due. I'm the neutral, right?
Yeah.
Zlatan's a dumb fucking idiot. He's an idiot. He's a stupid idiot. I'm sorry. First off, if you're gonna talk about someone's mom, what do you think? The guy's not gonna react and go nuts? Okay, yes, I agree that.
I think he wanted him to react. He wanted to get himself sent off.
At the end of the day, Lukaku is not that kind of guy, but he's very easy to trigger. He's like you say you're ugly, and that's it. He's gone. He just loses his mind, and that's what Zlatan does. Because Zlatan thinks he can get in your head, and he knows how to control you. But at the end of the day, it actually hurt him more than it hurt Inter, because he picked up a second yellow. He could have avoided the first yellow. And I feel that the moment he did that, it brought the momentum to Inter's side. Up until that point, Milan was controlling the game. Or even just vice versa, just the fact that it was neutral. There wasn't one-sided, but either side could have won. Then you go into the second half, he takes a dumb yellow, which he could have avoided. He's down. He puts his side down a man. He's the leader, the captain of the team, and all of a sudden, you lose. You lost everything. The Milan lost control of the game right at the end of the first half, and then that's how the game changed, basically. So for me, yeah, I agree with Miguel, and the comments are wrong from Lukaku. I agree with you guys. The comments from Lukaku is unwarranted. It doesn't need to. Yeah. It's not needed. You're right. But it could have been prevented from the beginning. Has Zlatan what's Zlatan thinking saying that shit to him? Okay, he made a challenge on him or whatever, it triggered him. But it's not like this is your first game. It's not needed in that derby. Now they're gonna play what, 2 more weeks again? 3 more weeks? And
3 weeks, February 21st.
And Inter's gonna be ready for this, man. They're gonna be so motivated, especially being a top 2 in the table. That's a lot more motivation for them. I just think that if at the end of the day, Milan was playing pretty well in the first half. They weren't getting dominated. I thought Inter wasn't very good, but as soon as they were up a man, that's when the game tilted, and that was it, man. So that's just me being a neutral, guys. I just think that Zlatan, sometimes he thinks he's heroic and he can just say whatever he wants because he thinks he's on another level, but he's not at the end of the day. And Lukaku, what a penalty shot. You're right, Alex. Powerful, man. I've never the bar down, and that was never going to get stopped. And Uncle Sharma is making me laugh tonight, guys. By the way, Sky Punjab live reporting. I had to piss my pants on that one. And
I don't know if you know the backstory on Sky Punjab. Sky Punjab, over a year ago, reported that Inter were interested in bringing back Eder from Jiangsu, and then a year later, Di Marzio was reporting it. So Sky Punjab is seeing things 4D chess. They see things a year in advance, man. Sky Punjab is the shit. I want to get Jerry's opinion on one thing. Miguel already weighed in on this a little bit, but if he has something to add to it later, that's fine. But on the penalty that was awarded for the tackle on Barella, personally, I thought Miguel described it very well, because people are passing around different camera angles of it, and they're breaking it down like it's the Zapruder film, and it's fun to do that, I guess. And I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, like from this angle, he wasn't touched, like Barella wasn't touched." I understand how it may have looked that way, but here's my thing, and I'm an amateur physicist weighing in. Okay, I don't see how, if he wasn't touched, his feet and his legs could have reacted to the phantom contact the way that it did. This guy would have to have the diving skills of Dybala to be able to react with the perfection that he did in concert with the tackle. So, and I know people are gonna say, "Oh, listen to this ridiculous interista, like breaking down the physics of the play." I just don't see how his feet could have moved that way if there wasn't any contact. I think there had to have been contact. So I've said my piece on it. I think it was a rightful penalty, personally. What do you think, Jerry?
Well, it kind of has similar instincts to like Wesley Hoot yesterday when he drew the penalty, and I know that was kind of way more visible as opposed to Leao. But anytime you put your body out like that and you're stretched out and you're gonna go for a committed challenge like that, more than any time you're going to be committing a foul, and you better be sure that you're going to get full ball and no player. And I think Leao did get a piece of him. Just the way he's going into that challenge, he's full out going, sprawling out, and he's at his legs. Even if it's the slightest touch and it's soft, you're making contact. The minute you make contact into the box, you got VAR. VAR is going to come in. They're going to make the call. Okay, even the slightest of touches, it's going to be ruled a penalty. So I'm always one who doesn't like those kind of challenges, because more than ever you're putting your side at risk as opposed to helping your team. I don't know many players who are very good at challenges like that. I know, not because I'm a Laziale fan, but I know a guy like Cherby is very confident when he makes his challenges in the box, and more than none, he always is really accurate and timely on them. And another one, Stefan de Vrij, is really good when he's in the box, but very few are good at that talent. So that's just the way I kind of I've seen that challenge. It's hard because you're on the other end and you're that Milan fan. You're like, "Oh, that's the softest call. Hardly touched him, jumped over." And then when you're on the other side and you're Inter, it's like, "Oh, well, he just grazed him." That's you don't make the challenge even if you grazed him. But I'll say one side topic. That sausage maker fucking sucks. He got outplayed by Perisic on Tuesday. Bossed. I'm sorry, man. I don't like. That's one guy I do not like on Milan is Sausage Maker, and
Why don't you like him?
I don't like him. I you know what? Sure, he provides motivation. He can run. That's great. But after that, I just don't think he's skillful. I don't think he's a skillful player. Since he returned, I know he just came back from injury, but even before that, I just don't think he provides a lot to the team. That's just me. That's just me, though. I think he's just a hard worker. That's great. But after that, I think that Milan has done a lot of good stuff this year. Diaz, I thought, was really good on Tuesday when he came in. I think he came in, second half, if I'm mistaken, or did he start the whole game?
He started.
He started, right? Okay, that was a game prior then on Saturday against Atalanta. I just think that a guy like him has really excelled his game and has really helped him in that midfield. There has been, I think Simon Kjær got hurt. That's a big loss. I think he's been one of the best players for Milan.
And then I was impressed that Tomori came in and played really well. I thought that was a good debut for him.
Absolutely. I'm just not a big Salzmaker guy. I think he's overhyped personally. And with Leao, I think Leao is a very good player, just not used properly. Can't be used as a number 9. I don't like as a number 9. He's a winger. That's just that was.
Issue. I I think the issue with Sausage Maker, I don't think he's overhyped. I just think that Milan fans have just seen the amount of growth that he's had since he's been here, and that's why they're giving him that praise. Like, we know he's not a talented player. He doesn't do anything special. He doesn't have any silky skill moves, like no crazy passes. But he's just a really efficient hard worker. And when he does work hard and it works out, it's beautiful for Milan and it helps the team. Unlike someone named Castillejo who works his ass off, but when it comes to providing in the offense, it doesn't work out. So that's why I think that Sausage Maker gets that praise. I don't think he's overhyped because nobody hails him as, oh, he's the best winger in the world. Because all Milan fans know we need a new world-class Champions League football so that we can excel in this team. But yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from with the comments on Sausage Maker. So
I want to touch on something, Samu Castillejo. I think what really hurt him was that injury against Lazio last year. And in that game, he was the best player against Lazio.
Good game you picked, Jerry.
Sorry?
Good game you picked.
Oh, not because Lazio won. I'm going to talk about the actual Lazio won that game because Castillejo got hurt. And he was dominating that right side. I still remember when he got hurt, I think it was in the first half, around the 35th minute. He came out. He got an ankle injury or leg injury. Poor guy. He was playing some of the best football prior to that injury. I think he had like a string of like 5 good games and finally got his form, and then he got hurt, and that was it for the season. He was never the same again, and this guy just can't stay healthy. I think that's why you guys don't see that production of what you've been waiting for with Samu Castillejo. And I'm a firm believer that when you get hurt once, you get hurt twice, you get hurt 3 times, it sticks in the back of your head, and it really hurts your performance because then you start second guessing how you play, how you make your challenges. I haven't watched a lot of him, but I know I was
tore his ACL twice.
See, can you imagine if you tore your ACL twice? Like, it's like Mohamed Fadis for Lazio. We signed a guy that's freaking broken goods, man. It blows my mind. He's been hurt like 9 times. He's like not even. I think he's like 23 or 24, and like or even younger. But still, it creeps in the back of your head, and I think that may have played a part with Samu Castillejo. I like him. I like the way he works hard too. And I think he still has something he can offer this team. It's just, it's hiding personally, but it is what it is, I guess, right?
Any player that tears their ACL, I'm out on them like ASAP. Like, it happens once, it's going to happen again. That's for me at least, because we've seen how many players tear their ACL, they come back, they're either not as good or they just get hurt again trying to do the same kind of stuff that they used to do. And it's either the same knee or it was the other one. Look at Zaniolo. I'm out. I'm completely out on him. He's done in my eyes. He's not going to have the same career, that trajectory that he used to have.
I don't know, man. Zaniolo, I won't count that guy out yet. You got. I agree. I only say that it was Castillejo because we've seen how he came back after an injury. We need to see how Zaniolo comes back now after a second injury. Maybe he comes back even stronger than the first. Maybe he overcomes mentally. Like, it's a mental thing too, right? Like, if you can overcome it mentally, then he'll become even stronger. But that time will only tell, right? But I only go based on players where we've seen when they have returned and how they look when they on the field now.
So real quick, before we move on to some mid-season stuff, I want to get Ricky and Mario's thoughts on the calls on the penalty awarded for the Leao foul on Barella and on Zlatan's second yellow card and being sent off. Ricky, what were your thoughts on that? Do you think they got it right?
For the Leao one, it is pretty tricky. Make sure my thing's on. I mean, when you do look at it from different angles, it kind of looks like, all right, it kind of didn't touch him. But, I mean, Barella wouldn't do that. Barella's not a known person to overact or oversell anything. And I kind of do assume that contact was made, so I think they got the call there.
I'll cut you off real quick, I'll say, because I know people are going to bring this up if one of us don't. there was, I can't remember which match it was in, but there was that time where Barella it hit his hand, and then he said, "Oh, it hit me in the face," and he acted really well. So there was that one time. That was an Academy Award winning performance. I'll admit that. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. And then the one for Zlatan, I mean, it's already way late into the game. I mean, if this is like the first 10 minutes, the ref would probably give a warning for that. Like, okay, look, calm down. It's the first 10 minutes. Need to calm it down, but it's like way late into the game. And the way he came at it too is like, nah, it's a second yellow, or at least a yellow card offense, which gives him a second yellow.
What did you think, Mario, of the officiating and the calls?
I think they were good. I mean, honestly, I try to give as unbiased as I can, regardless of who I support. I'm the first person to say it's a penalty for Milan. If it's a penalty, I don't care. I think the penalty was a penalty. I think that there was enough contact. There was contact, as Alex had physically shown us before with his amateur physics degree.
I'm a pro, buddy. Relax.
Professional. Excuse me. So I feel like there was contact because if you look at the way he's turning with his body and his head, his face is not looking at the leg, where the positioning of the leg. So in order to execute a dive like that, you have to know that the leg's there, know that you have to think of so many things before you even hit. He felt contact, he went down. It's a penalty to anything. It doesn't matter how soft. If there's enough contact to make you to move your leg in any way to take away from the original motion, it's a penalty. Yellow card, I explained before, if it's a first yellow card offense, doesn't matter. It's a second yellow, no matter how soft people might think. I thought the officiating was good. I was expecting a red card to come out in the first half when they were fighting, honestly. I thought something was going to happen, if anything. But I don't know. I didn't have any problems with the officiating. I thought it was pretty fair. A lot of Milan fans are saying that, either the 12th man, the referee, this and that. I don't think that's the case in this game. I feel like the refs weren't trying to give the game. They weren't trying to sell the game. I didn't notice anything. The calls were both ways. There wasn't, at first he didn't want to give the penalty. We saw that. He went to VAR, he looked at it, and then there wasn't any evidence that gave the referees and the VAR referees that it wasn't a penalty, because they looked at it from I don't know how many angles, 4 or 5 angles, whatever it was, and they concluded that's a penalty. Not the referee on the spot, and he didn't take it away. He went to VAR and called it. It's fucking Jerry.
You're letting Jerry rattle you like Zlatan on Lukaku.
A little bit. I'm going to come after his voodoo over here. Jerry's Canadian voodoo, where he puts maple syrup all over
He's
himself and then hugs a bear or something. But I want to give a lot of credit to Tomori. I feel like he stepped up and proved that he's going to be a good Milan signing, because he came, 2 days before the game, whatever it was, within the week.
3 days, I think, something like that.
He stepped in for Agyei, one of the best center backs in Serie A right now, probably within the top 5 easily, in my opinion, because he's from Palermo, obviously. No bias whatsoever on that one. But he stepped in and he held down Lukaku and Lautaro. He did a phenomenal job. They didn't have any space or anything on that one. So I give him a lot of credit, especially to step in such a big game, the derby, 2 days, and his ice in his veins over here. He would have taken a penalty if they went to penalties. He would have scored a penalty and walked away like nothing happened. Freaking killer. I like him. But the Lautaro call, that one, for the free kick at the end, that one I haven't been able to see a clear replay, because on Twitter, I forgot to play it because I didn't even care about it because Eriksson scored. But before that, everyone zoomed in on the legs of Lautaro. And if I am correct, with the 1,000 times zoom, it looks like his leg was touched before he kicked himself, which alluded to him kicking himself, leading to the foul. And that's a foul if that's what happened. If he just kicked himself, it's a bad call. Then you can go and question everything that happened. But I don't care because Eric scored. That's
of
my
course,
bias.
yeah. and on that note, let's turn the page from this. I never would have thought we'd be talking this much about a Coppa Italia match, but that one was pretty damn epic. We're gonna turn the page to a Serie A mid-season review. Go ahead.
I just want to say one thing. I looked at the replay again right now, and it's you know what? It's the softest call you'll probably ever get as an Interistio.
I thought it was I did.
I looked at it again and again and again, and the more I look at it, the more I second guess myself and said, did he really touch him or did he jump over him? Like, because when you're actually looking, I looked at the replay.
You're talking about the Barella thing. I thought you were talking about the Lautaro thing.
No, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck him.
I won't argue there.
No, fuck that guy. That guy, Lautaro is shit. That's it. He's done. And they're talking about a contract extension with that guy. Fucking, it blows my mind how you play shit, you get a contract extension. Di Francesco, win this in what, 12 games or 13 games, gets a contract renewal. Play shit, coach shit, you get a new contract. That's the way it is these days, man. But with that Milan, I think he grazes him. That's it, man. And I think it's a weak call because there's no. I think and you even see him pull his foot back. He's making the attempt to pull his foot back as he's going across, and it doesn't even look like it's going near him.
But it's still like it's to me it's reckless enough.
But
it's called most of the time.
It's not reckless because it's his left foot, his left leg that's going aggressively, not his right. You can see it's not his right leg that's going after him. It's the right leg that's being pulled back, and then I don't know if it even touches him or not, but you see him jump over him like it's a circus act. Like I don't know, man. I think it's soft, man. You know what? You're gonna
penalty
when it's inconclusive. You're gonna give what the call is on the field. That's the problem here. I think that's more why the call was made. It's just so inconclusive that you're gonna go on the hunch that he grazes him, and that's it. Like you're right, it is a reckless challenge, but I think it's more of a reckless challenge in the sense that he's going with his left leg, not his right leg, and his left leg doesn't go at him. It's his right leg that gets pulled back. But it is what it is. No, I don't think Gattuso should get fired. No, I think you stick with him. I just saw this question right now. Yeah, we can keep going.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, why don't we start with that real quick? Since Joseph brought up this question, do you guys think Napoli should fire Gattuso or should he get to the end of the season to prove himself? Obviously, like it's hard for me to say until the end of the season because we're only halfway through, and so things can get a lot worse or they can get a lot better. Okay, but as for right now, overall, I think Gattuso, when he took over for Ancelotti last season, I think he made dramatic improvements. I thought, at least initially, to the mentality of the squad and the quality of the squad. And so I know that sometimes De Laurentiis can be a little bit quick on the trigger finger to get rid of a manager. Like I think in this case, there are two questions you ask yourself. Does Gattuso really deserve it? Like, because one thing for me is one of the reasons why I can sometimes sign off on sacking a manager mid-season if they've lost the dressing room. But I don't think Gattuso has lost the dressing room. Like I think he still has the support of his players. And that's not everything, but it's something. Like to me, because it's an emergency. If you've lost your dressing room and they're not playing for a manager, then sometimes your hands are tied. You have to sack the manager. I don't think he's lost the dressing room. That's number one. Could the results be better? Absolutely. But Napoli have also dealt with injuries. I mean, Osimhen's been gone for a long time. A lot of guys have been shuffling in and out, injuries and COVID, I should say. I know stuff that other clubs have dealt with. And yeah, the results have been disappointing. And then the other question is, if you sack him, who are you replacing him with? I mean, Benitez, Spalletti, Allegri. Are they going to bring Sarri back, to come back and save the day dramatically? Like that's the other question. Like, are you really going to have an upgrade if you fire Gattuso? And I'm not sure. Mario, I think you have a take on it because you were just you looked a little animated there.
I don't understand why they would want to bring back Benitez. He's the worst manager on this side of the Mississippi. I hate that man. He's the only person who could take a freaking treble winning team and turn them into nothing. This is the man anybody wants to coach. He's a freaking useless manager. I don't understand. Like Gattuso has been so good for them since Ancelotti, and sure he didn't get the excellent run of results that are going to put you into second place where you've been for the past God knows how long, 6-7 years. But he's doing a good job with what he has. They had a lot of injuries. They're buying players that I don't feel like they'll get the best out of in these lineups. So like Osimhen and especially Fabian Ruiz, I hate that guy so much.
I don't like him. I don't think Napoli fans rate him either at this point.
They do. They're starting to realize because I talk to a lot of Napoli people all day, and at first like, oh no, he's so skillful, he's good, he's this, he's that, he's talented. I'm like, yeah, okay. Barcelona wanted him for 60 million, but he chose Napoli. All this bullshit, and I tell him, okay, well, I watch him play and I see 6 players on Napoli going on a counterattack. The ball gets to Fabian Ruiz in midfield. He goes back to Ospina. Who does that? Who the fuck does that? I hate him. And he scored that stupid goal on Inter last year.
Yes, I knew you were getting that.
I hated him before that, and that just solidified my hate for him. If I could, I would trade him for a washing machine. He's not Gattuso's not the problem. Fabian Ruiz is the problem. Look at their midfield today. They played Demme, they played Zielinski, and they played who was the other one? It wasn't Bakayoko like normal. It was.
I don't know. I couldn't watch it today. I was at work. I did have Napoli -1.5, so thank God they covered. But I couldn't actually watch it.
I think it was Elma, something like that. And the midfield was excellent. The first half they were excellent. Everything worked. I like Demme in that position. Diego Marademe. I feel like he's a Elmas. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mo, my man. Those 3 work well, and I think Bakayoko's an upgrade to Elmas on a normal day against any other team. But Spezia was bad today, and Napoli was really good today. I feel like if Gattuso can get them a little more consistent to win games, it's not even about the performance. It's a little bit performance because they haven't been the best. But they've been grinding results. They've been getting ties when they don't deserve ties. They've been getting wins when they don't deserve wins. And I'm the first person to say a win's a win. And if you can grind out a tie that saves you a loss, great. I want to say one more thing with Gattuso. They have one of the best goal differentials in the league. Joe was telling me, Joe Bianco, my man, he was telling me they're second to only Inter now in Serie A. They were tied, and now I think they're second place, whatever the case is, or they were best, and now they're tied. One of those. But that just shows you that they are capable of scoring and defending, which if you could score, you're great. If you can defend, even better. You're not leaking goals left and right. Conte and Gattuso both haven't leaked goals this year. And Napoli, with a few unfortunate events or results, they're struggling. But if they have a winner, like 2 more wins, they're in title contention right there. Yep. I don't think they're that far off as far down as there. So I don't think it's time for Napoli to panic at all. And I want to shout out Carmine for that video of Zlatan. Thank you.
Well, and let me finish going around the table on this. Go ahead, Ricky.
How many points are they from top 4?
They are they're on 34. They're only 2 points out of the top 4, and they've got a game in hand. Well, so do Juventus, who are currently in 4th, but they're 2 points behind Atalanta, who are in 5th. So they're only 2 points out of 4th place.
Yeah, they have to make up that game that they lost.
Lost, and then the loss was wiped out.
Yeah, the game with the COVID where they couldn't travel, where they were forced not to travel, they overturned that one. So that's the game.
Well, what do you think, Ricky? Should Gattuso be sacked or more time?
I'd say give him more time.
What do you think, Miguel?
Yeah, I agree. I'd give Gattuso very much more time. You need to look at Gattuso's track history. You see that everywhere that he has coached, he has steadied the ship. look at what he did at Milan. He brought Milan 1 point away from top four. And Milan decided to let him go. I don't know why. I was absolutely gutted when that happened. But Gattuso is really a manager who cares about his team. He cares about the mentality. You saw how Napoli was a mess before he arrived, and he managed to put everybody in check. And now everybody is out there and they're fighting and they're playing some really good football. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes they don't get the best of results. We're living in unreal times with COVID, injuries, and playing at least 2 to 3 games every week. But yeah, like you said, he's only 2 points away from top four. So why would you get rid of him? He won you guys Coppa Italia. Like, the man has been giving good results. Although he's not in top four right now, we're only halfway through the season. And
Right.
this is Serie A. Anything can happen. We've seen how in the last 2 seasons that all results end up mattering to the final day of the season, where a team either loses Champions League by 1 point or loses the Scudetto by 1 point. So why would you get rid of him now and erase all the progress that he's made since Ancelotti was there?
So I want to change topics back to the midseason review, and I want to start with Miguel, since he's already waxing poetic, because I want to get your perspective on Milan. Obviously, it's been a great first half of the season overall, and that really goes back to the end of last season. Post lockdown, Milan has been overall in tremendous form. They finished the first 19 match days as Winter Scudetti, which the Italian media makes a big deal out of it. I don't know if other leagues like in the UK, if they care as much, but it is something that's made a big deal out of in Italy. 43 points atop the league, 2 points ahead of Inter, 6 points ahead of Roma, who are in third place. So overall, Miguel, what are your feelings on the season? What has surprised you most in a good way? And if there's anything that stands out in a bad way, because I know that there have been, a couple losses in recent weeks, including in Coppa Italia. So where are you at right now? Your progress report with Milan?
My progress report with Milan right now, I'd give them a B+. Obviously, they have definitely, achieved above my expectations. They've managed to win games that I didn't think that they were going to win, or games that I thought they were going to draw. Stefano Pioli has managed to find a way to get results with the injuries, with the COVID positive tests and all that. And I think that as a Milan fan, we went into this season going, Milan should aim for top four. We came in 5th last season. Top four should be the goal. So if we can build off of that progress, then it's a great season, okay? Going into the season, we didn't have any dreams of Scudetto. And I tell myself all the time, it's great that we're in first place, but anything can happen. So yes, we've been crowned Winter Scudetti winners, but that means absolutely jack shit to me. I don't care about that, because we have seen Milan play really good for a couple periods of time, and then they slack off and all hell breaks loose. And again, I think last season, as many of the players have come out to say, that 5-0 loss to Atalanta really did something to them. And yes, we lost to Atalanta again not too long ago. It was 3-0, but it wasn't the best of games. But we're still dealing with these, injuries and this COVID situation. And to lose 3-0 to a team that's in Champions League and a team that's already beat you before when you're not at full strength isn't terrible to me. We lost 2 games, and we lost to Juve and Atalanta, both top 4 sides. They both play in the Champions League. So that's honestly great to me. I would be gutted if we lost to Hellas Verona or if we lost to Spezia, but we haven't lost those games. Those games that Inter, on the other hand, can't manage to pull the result. We have pulled the result, and that has made the difference for us this season.
And I do. We've got 3 people to give a progress report on Inter, but before we get to that, I want Jerry's Lazio progress report, because honestly, it's almost surprising, and it's a pleasant surprise that you look at the table, and I know Lazio are technically in 7th, right? But on 34 points, much like Napoli, they're only 2 points out of 4th place. And, there was a time, Jerry, up until a couple weeks ago, where it looked like Lazio were in crisis, like in terrible, terrible form. They've snapped out of it. And now you look at the squad, and they're, the goal for you guys, of course, has always been this year, to get back into the top 4, to get into Champions League for the 2nd year in a row. And it's very much up for grabs heading into the 2nd place. I'm sure you have some regrets in the first half, but overall, the results have not been nearly as bad as they felt like. So what's your progress report for Lazio?
I don't have regrets because the circumstances where we had up to 12 players missing due to COVID and injuries in the Champions League, and then we followed up with a second match with 8 players out. It hasn't been any continuity with this team where Immobile has been out, Alberto's been out, Savage has been out, Vedat Muriqi arrived late, and I think that there has been a lot of criticism on him. But when you arrive late from the transfer market, 2 injuries, COVID, how do you have time to actually understand the tactics and be able to get up to speed?
And it only puts more pressure on you. So like a couple of the shit performances that you had a couple weeks ago, like, it's not only not knowing the tactics and not being that familiar with the teammates, but there's probably also some nerves and pressure. And it looks to me like Muriqi, who I've seen score a couple of nice goals, including, that long distance header, in midweek against Atalanta, like he's hitting form now.
No, absolutely. He looks healthy. I think that's what the most important thing is. He looks really energetic, and he doesn't look fatigued at any moment throughout the game. Yesterday against Parma, he was effective against Sassuolo, coming off the bench for 8 minutes. I praise Inzaghi, and I think the biggest thing he did in the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to kind of like cross-reference here with Gattuso because I wanted to save a Gattuso part here. And
sure.
The thing that could really hinder Gattuso's job and what is not hindering Inzaghi's job is that he rotated his squad in both Coppa Italia games. You saw Pereira play, Muriqi play, Wesley Hoop played, Akpa Akpro played, Fares came off and played. These are things that you need to see from Gattuso, which that I'm very curious to see because now you got 2 Coppa Italia games, you got your two Europa League games, you got your league, and Gattuso is so stubborn not to rotate his lineup. So I want to see him use other players more. I know that I think he benched a few players today and he kind of rotated, but I want to see if he's reluctant to do it against a team like Juventus next week. Sorry, Atalanta. And those are the decisions because and in part I also wrote a piece earlier where basically this is a guy who basically brought what's his name, Hervin Lozano back to life. And where was Lozano last year? This guy was lost. Napoli wanted him out. Biggest signing. I'll read that in a second. But
I'll leave it up there for you.
But what's it called? He brought Lozano back to life. So people forget that. I think he's a leader. I wouldn't fire him. I think it's stupid. Look at Chelsea. They got rid of their coach. What's Tuchel gonna do now? I heard on a pod, okay, there is not enough time to put your philosophy and make changes because of how many games there are, and there's not enough training within the week to implement your strategies, your tactics in order to like bring your philosophy to the team. You're gonna need a whole summer to do that. It made no sense to bring Tuchel for Chelsea right now, and I think that with Napoli, if they bring a new manager, by the time they actually come up to speed, they come reference understanding what they believe in, it's going to be a shit show. I would stick with Gattuso. I don't think it's been bad. He's got the second lowest goals allowed in the league, I think, with 18. I was just looking at it. But let me just read this. Jerry Mancini, December 23rd, 2020. I'm done with that.
You did say that.
You did say that on Twitter.
And
read it out loud because some people may only listen back to the audio. So read it out loud for people.
I'll
Those are your words.
Jerry Mancini, December 23rd, 2020. I'm done with Vedat Muriqi. He fucking sucks. This guy was overhyped. $20 million down the fuck end drain.
Yeah, but did you not read my tweet the next day when I actually apologized and I said that I'm very reactionary?
That's not the point. This is biased media. This is the Twitter video of Lautaro Martinez. We zoom in on one thing and one thing only.
Fair.
No, but I was the first to admit that I was overreactionary on his performance.
We've all said shit like
that. Yes, he was bad against Milan. I still hold that till today. But I think that since that game, he's gotten better, which is encouraging. And hopefully that – what players would you like to see in the rotation? I don't think Napoli has the depth, especially with Mertens, Osimhen injury, and I don't think guys like Lobotka are good enough. Again, I don't like a guy like what's his name? The guy who came from Rahmani. He should be playing more. That's an example. One guy, he spent so much money, and he should be in the lineup. I would have to look at who they have personally, but when Napoli fans say that we have depth, we bought players in the summer, we bought players in the winter transfer market, there shouldn't be an excuse of who do you rotate. It's you rotate. That's it. You spent X amount on money and like you spent money on players. There's no reason why rotation becomes an issue. That's just me. I don't really look into what Napoli has. I'm not a Napoli expert, but personally, at the end of the day, when you preach that you've bought all these players and you got these guys coming over, that shouldn't be an issue. Like Lozano, why is Lozano playing every game? Why isn't he not rotating with Politano? There's an example. Like you brought Politano over, use him still. Like they play in the same position, something like that. Like Petagna was never being used when Osimhen was in the lineup. Petagna is only being used now because Osimhen's out of the lineup.
Yeah,
stink or no stink, it doesn't matter. I don't like Vedat Mariti until the last 3 games. I'll be honest, but I'm happy that he played in the Coppa Italia. I don't want to see Immobile on the pitch.
Yeah.
I know he has an injury. Inzaghi in past seasons has always been reluctant to not squad rotate. He did it in the 2 Coppa Italia games. You know how far that can go? How much of a difference that can make for players like Immobile, Correa, Caicedo. I know Acerbi played because our defense sucks, but like Stefan Radu, I know he's 35 and whatever, but he was benched for 2 important games. 2 games that can help him in the league. These are things that a lot of managers don't do. Conte, he doesn't squad rotate either. Everybody says that I got called out on Twitter that Inter has the depth. They have depth. They got players. So why aren't they playing? Christian Eriksen's depth. Why isn't he playing?
He hates him.
Like,
I think we're going to see Vecino. Vecino scored a goal against the children of the Primavera in a training match today, so I think he's going to get a shot pretty soon.
But
I can't wait until the midfield.
I picture him out there with like 13-year-olds scoring goals.
But in regards to Lazio, I think the fact that the starting 11 are Luis Alberto starting to find his form right at the right time. He had a slow start to the season. I think a lot of people are overmining. Like I know he hasn't registered an assist, but the guy has 6 goals. It's not his fault that if he's making the key passes, he's like 7th in the league in key passes. And if players are not finishing their opportunities, how can that be on Luis Alberto's fault? Sergei Milinkovic-Savic has been stellar. I think Wesley Hoot, I know he had a bad game against Atalanta yesterday, but he's been serviceable. He's been really good in the Champions League. So they reached the round of 16 in Champions League. A lot of people didn't have them advancing out of the group. Some did. I know that Coppa Italia, we would have liked to gone to the round of 4, but I also kind of like, I'm on both sides. I'm disappointed that we lost, but at the same time, teams like Milan and Lazio will benefit now because the next 2 weeks they don't have to play in midweek, especially a team like Milan where they have so many injuries to deal with. And Simon Kjær just got hurt now, latest injury. So now you have the midweek you can rest and you don't have to focus on that. And you just focus on Serie A prior to when Europa League comes. So certain teams do benefit from this. And I personally think that Inzaghi did not care about Coppa Italia as much as he said he did care about it. Obviously, any manager wants to win, but in the back of his head, he's thinking, okay, I know my team's out, but if it comes at the expense that my players are not going to get injured and have to be overplayed and overused for 2 more weeks, I'll do it just to get to finish a top 4 spot in Serie A. And I think Inzaghi's done a great job this year. He's really learned a lot. I think, yeah, sometimes his tactics are sometimes not the greatest. He chooses the wrong subs, but I'll say this much: at least he uses 5 subs. At least he's trying to do things with the players he has. I'd like to see more, maybe Pereira, but we'll see what happens. And overall, it's been a decent season, better than many had thought. I had them finishing in the top 4. I don't see why they still can't finish in the top 4. They haven't lost a game yet in Serie A in 2021. So the new year has been good to Lazio. So big game on Sunday against Atalanta. We'll speak a lot about. I think that's the game that's most important. And last thing is, I would love to see Lazio beat Atalanta on Sunday with Luis Alberto in the lineup, because I will be tweeting, "Where is Papu Gomez?" I just want to tweet so bad because I see too much Papu Gomez bullshit and it drives me nuts, man. I think he's a big loss to Atalanta still. I don't care what the results show. A guy like that is so hard to replace. Who the heck is Emilio Pasto?
Do you think that with 11 men on the field, Lazio can still beat Atalanta?
Oh,
yeah, they gave him the game goal with 11-10. What the hell, Jerry?
They couldn't win with 10.
So I had a conversation with our buddy Rob Pizzola, Alex, and I'm a firm believer of this. And I know that he's a stats guy, and I think that when you go up a guy, it doesn't always benefit you. And that's just me. I know that people think I'm stupid when I say that, but I think that your mind switches and you think that you become too complacent. You're too relaxed. You sit back and your mind switches of how you're supposed to play. When you're down a guy, you become more aggressive. You become
I think
more.
it depends on what the score is. I think if you're up a goal and you go up a man, it can get really dangerous because your instinct is going to be to take your foot off the gas pedal. Okay. But the same thing, like if you go down to 10 men and you're down a goal, I've seen that really charge up, motivate teams. Like it just happened to Inter about a month ago when, they were up a man against Napoli. And then I thought Napoli played infinitely better when they were down a man. Like they really play. And even Jerry way earlier this season, when Inter faced Lazio went down a man and Inter couldn't take advantage of it. Like I thought Lazio played better when they were down a man.
I don't get it, man. I just think that it was a mental mistake on the goal given up 3 minutes right after the red card. And after that, Lazio did nothing in the final third. Everyone praised how Atalanta was so good defensively, sounded and all that. Sure, you're good defensively if your opponent is just weak as well. Like they didn't make any attempt to get into the final third. Anybody who watched this game in the last half hour, give me a call and let me know when Lazio try to at least attack or make an attempt to get into the box and just try anything. I didn't see that. Their first opportunity came with 3 minutes left when Golini had to make that save. And then Correa tries to do side steps. And when they were in the box, they didn't know what to do. It was just mind-boggling. I don't know. Sometimes when you're up a guy, maybe you overthink what you're supposed to do. It doesn't become simplified. It drives me nuts. I don't get how when you're up a guy, it becomes the opposite.
It's hard to break down a team of 10 defenders. We have to remember. And if you're throwing 9-10 people forward at once just because you're up a man, it leaves the counter wide open, which Atalanta was doing just time after time. How many times do we see Duvan Zapata one-on-one with Agyei or whoever was left back? It happened so many times towards the end of the game where they would just launch a long ball. Zapata is one-on-one and it quickly becomes a 2v1. And then, they get a penalty, whatever the case happens. And then that's what happens. If you have a team that's just focused, compact, and just prepared, really, at the end of the day.
So I want to get so we've gotten Milan progress report, Lazio progress report. Let's go through the Interisti here. I don't know. Like I almost feel like I'm being a little bit generous, giving a B minus, but I'm going that high just because Inter are competing for a Scudetto, so they're and I give huge credit to Milan for being better than anyone expected. But from an Inter standpoint, they're right in there for the race, so I can't give them. I don't think anything less than a B minus for where they are right now. Obviously. I look. There's Ricky. We lost Ricky for a second. He's back. It's certainly disappoint. Like some disappointing matches that really stick out. That if Inter had taken care of business, they'd be getting a higher grade. I mean, this past week should have gotten the breakthrough goal against Udinese. Instead, it's a missed opportunity to go top of the table with a 0-0 draw. The Sampdoria loss 2-1 stings. Stuff like that is going to happen every now and again. There's also regret in bigger matches. I mentioned going way back early in the season when, Inter had I believe it was a 1-1 draw with Lazio, couldn't take advantage up a man. Inter really should have held on and put away Roma a couple of weeks back. And, Conte's tactical errors, cost them the victory. And it ended up being a 2-2 draw in that match. There's not really much I can pick apart with the Milan match. Milan, won that one fair and square. Inter were missing some guys, but that's been just the reality this season. So that was there's really not any big regrets that I have coming out of that game. But on the plus note, for the most part, Inter have gotten the majority of the results they should be getting. It did include some kind of ugly come from behind victories, like against Torino. That one had our hearts all racing when they were down 2-0. Overall, the results have been there. There were some negatives coming out of the transfer window. Kolarov, absolutely disastrous signing. I don't think there's really any excuse for that. I'll give Arturo Vidal some credit. He's been much better over the past couple of weeks, and he made up for a lot with that goal that he scored against Juventus. I know that a lot of Interisti guy, for the penalties and the red cards that he's given up this year, but his performance and his goal against Juventus was absolutely massive. And Nicolo Barella is having an unbelievable season. Romelu Lukaku, he's not scoring every single match, but he's been arguably Inter's most consistent player overall, because even when he's not scoring, he's contributing with his hold-up play. Some negative marks. Lautaro Martinez, if I had any hair left on my head, I would have pulled it all out by now at this point.
Use your mustache.
Bastoni has
especially
been
the Juve game.
The forehead's only going to get bigger there, Ricky, if Lautaro keeps missing sitters. And Hakimi is not consistent. He's not always putting in masterful performances, but he's put in a couple of great ones this year. So that's been a really, really good signing for Inter. Another thing on the negative side that I worry about is how many points is Samir Handanovic going to cost this team? Like that really, really concerns me. He's had a couple of good games. He made a big save against Juventus. He single-handedly preserved 3 points against Napoli because he saved Inter's asses in that game. But how many times has Handanovic, failed to catch, failed to parry, failed to move? He's just a shell of his former self, unfortunately. But I think once you mix that all together, my grade for the first half of the season, my progress report for Inter, I'm going to go with a B minus. And obviously the Scudetto is there for the taking. I'm not counting out Milan. Some people think that they're just going to disappear off the face of the earth, but I've seen them in good form now for basically a calendar year, going back to post-lockdown last year. So I'm not going to say that Milan suddenly is going to go on like a 5-game streak. No, I think they're going to compete. I've not counted out Juventus. A lot of people tried to count them out after they lost to Inter. Ludicrous to count them out in match day 18. It's ridiculous. They have plenty of time to make up some ground, but Inter are right in the mix. So I go B minus. Mario, what do you think? What letter grade do you give? What's your progress report to this point?
I think a B minus is fair as it gets. I'm stuck between those because you have to take down a mark on as instantly because of the Champions League. You can't go out in the group stage like that, especially with the group that we had. That's inexcusable. Sure, it opens up for the Coppa Italia, the league, whatever, Scudetto, but it doesn't matter. It's a tournament that you have to show up to. You get to the knockout rounds, fine. You lose in the first round, fine, whatever. You haven't made it that far in God knows how long, but you have to perform, especially when it's there for the taking, and all you have to do is get a point or two. But so that's where it takes it down to a B instantly. The only bright spot on that is that the only reason why you're in second place is because Milan haven't lost a game in 30 outings. They're in incredible form. You can't fault that. Inter has done everything they can to put themselves in the best position to win the league, but Milan has been better. There's nothing you can do about that. They haven't lost a game.
Right.
Same with Juve last time. You do everything, but Juve was a little bit better. At the end of the season, because you dropped points against the Sampdorias or the Udinese, the Roma that just should win. That's where it comes to haunt you. That's where Miguel is, he's 100% right. They're winning the games that we didn't. That's what it comes down to. And I don't expect us to be perfect. I don't expect the invincible season that Arsenal had in 2004. I don't expect that from any team. That is just a bonus. But Inter is putting together wins. They're the second best team. I can't fault them for that. I think Conte, with whatever madness is going on, it's working in the league. You can't say it's not, because they have second place, obviously. Like I just said, I can circle around this for so many times. It all circles back to Milan has just been better, as good as they can be. And Handanovic, sure, he loses you points, but at the same time, Lautaro can't score sitters. Lukaku, it shouldn't be on the goalie to determine the game. It's unfair because they take one shot and they score one goal. Like, that's literally what happens. He finished the game with 0 saves and 1 goal, but we lost that game 1-0. It's unfortunate. Like, I've talked about it on here. I've talked about it on the Inter Worldwide podcast. There's a reason why he's starting, and he's the best option. It's clear as day. It's to Conte and to probably the rest of the Inter staff. That's why he's playing game in. That's why Raju can't even get minutes in Coppa Italia against Milan, against whoever, because Handanovic is just that much better, age 36, and standing like Tatarusanu did on Eriksen's free kick. It happens. Like, sure, his positioning, fine, whatever. You can make a million things, but it all comes down to we lost those games 1-0 on 1 shot, 2 shots, and he didn't make the save because whatever, he didn't move. Fine, we don't score. We have 25 chances to score a game almost. It seems. I did the math last time. It's like 14, 17, 19, 20, 25, 30, and the ball doesn't go in. Like, it's not entirely Handanovic's fault. So I will back him up as much as I can. He should save some, yes, but at the same time, we should score. Like Lautaro against Milan, wide open goal to shoot at off of that one chance. He put it over. It's like stupid shit, and he freaking sucks. I'll blame him before I blame Handanovic, because I fucking hate watching him just try to flick the ball to the other team 17 times a game on 18 touches, and then get pulled out for Alexis, who comes but doesn't get enough time, for Eriksen, who comes on but doesn't get enough time and is playing defensive mid all of a sudden where Brozovic should be. And the whole thing's out of whack, but it's working somehow.
By the way, so I want to answer real quick. So Joe asked, do we think Lautaro is underperforming? Absolutely.
He's in Space Jammed.
Yeah, because there are certain things like in most matches, his movement is pretty good, and he's like off the ball, he's getting where he needs to be. But when you miss as many sitters as he has, then I've got to say he's underperforming, because and his goal output has still not been bad this year. But with some of the chances he missed, he should be right there in the Capocannoniere race. Like, he's had that many opportunities.
I want to say one more thing on Lautaro, because my friend Mo from Inter Worldwide, he said it on Twitter perfectly. He goes, so one guy tweeted, if Martinez can improve his first touch and finishing, he'll be world class. Let's hope it happens. So Mo, with the response of a lifetime, he goes, so basically saying he has to improve as a striker and he'll be a good striker. I'm just like, this guy gets it. It's like he can do anything. He can move, but anybody can run. That's what we forget. The hardworking, the trait of a hardworking player like Saladmaker has. It doesn't do anything for me. Like, I don't care how hard you work. It's how much you can give to this team. If if Lautaro's making the right movements, opening up the space, but then not scoring, he needs to score at the end of the day. It's not like if he didn't get these chances and he's making the movements, making the pass or whatever, fine. You know what? I discounted, but the chances are there to score and you're not scoring. It's you and the goalie every time. You and the open goal every time. How many times can you put the ball into the goalie's arms when you're one-on-one and all you have to do is chip them, go around them, anything, and miss an open the goal completely. Like I said with Icardi, I'll take anybody over him. I will stand by that. But it makes me sound like a hypocrite. I'm not gonna lie. I'm thinking about this and it's just circling, and I sound horrible right now. But
no, you're good, bro.
I would still take Lautaro over Icardi any day of the week. I don't care.
Icardi, fuck Pylon, fucking guy. Plays one way, and that's it. You know what, man? You guys can shit on Lautaro all you want. First season, he scored 6 goals in Serie A. Last year, he scored 14. This year, he has 9 goals. I don't. There's no drop off. I just think
but like 3 of those were in one game, though. To be fair,
I don't give a shit, man. He got the goals. It doesn't matter. The point is, he got the goals.
He should be in the Capocannoniere race. He's missed sitters.
If he scores 18 goals in one game and wins Capocannoniere, what about the other 37 games?
He should be hitting the sitters, but don't look about the goals. You got to look at the overall performance about him. And I think that a lot of things are in the back of his head. That whole Barcelona thing shook him up bad. He hasn't been the same.
Now they're bankrupt, so don't worry about them anymore.
Jerry,
I don't know.
Jerry, do you watch how many times he receives a ball to his feet and instead of taking a touch in front of him or laying the ball back, he tries to heel the ball to the defender standing behind him?
Oh, you know what? It's not a Lazio problem, thank God.
Well, I want to get hold on. I want to move on to the next thing.
Hold on, Alex. I want to say one more thing.
All right, fine.
Fuck Lautaro. Handanovic is shit. I'll tell you that much. Guy's garbage. When the guy starts screaming at his own defense and he's like have his hands in the air, he's waving, he's pissing
but it's
off.
really his fault every time.
Yeah. Get out of here, man. I can't find.
They shouldn't be shooting in the first place.
It doesn't matter. Sometimes you need your goalkeeper to step up and you need a big save. He can't do it. What the hell?
Doesn't make the big save. Did you not see him against Milan?
That's one game. It's one game.
It's every game. Did you not see him
against Juve too?
2 weeks ago? Whoever the fuck they played, he had the game of the life again.
Inconsistent, man. I would find a goal. You guys need a goalkeeper. The
You
guy
need a goalkeeper.
36. The guy's 36.
He's older than
He's
dirt.
consistent this year, has he? At least he stepped up.
And
Look what he did yesterday.
It is about the amount of chances he misses more than the goal scoring. That's what Mo said.
Yeah.
No, I don't like.
But imagine what the scoring would have.
I want to get Ricky because Ricky still hasn't had his progress report.
Bullshit. One misses chances, the other can't make a save. Who gives a shit? Get rid of both of them.
We're lucky not to be in 19th
Don't
place.
say you're right. We do need a goalkeeper because Thomas Tricocha is getting knee surgery. You're right, and luckily they signed Peperena because if they didn't have Peperena, Lazio would be in a freaking hole right now. I'll tell you that much. So, yeah, I'm done.
Go ahead, Ricky. What's your progress report for Inter?
It'd have to be a B minus. Champions League, as well as the signings made, still they were pretty questionable at the time with Godin leaving to bring Kolarov and Darmian in.
I like Darmian. And he got lost.
Oh, we lost Ricky.
We lost him 4 times, man. He needs to get off AOL, man. I don't know what the heck he's using. AOL, what do you guys have up there in USA? AOL, freaking AT&T. Holy shit.
Nobody under the age of 80 uses AOL, but they used to. I mean, I've got AT&T. I don't know. But anyway, so
he probably had a call. Someone called his house phone, so he had to get off.
Does he have dial-up internet?
No, here he's back. He's back.
Man, this thing keeps like kicking me out.
What do you have? Dial-up internet there? Phone dial-up.
No, I got AT&T, but I don't know.
I tell you.
Stop you from doing this podcast.
And the funny thing about it is, like, he sounds clear as day. Like, he's probably got the best sound out of all 5 of us, but like the sound comes at a price. Like, he made a deal with the devil where you're going to sound great, but I'm going to cut you off every 18 minutes, you know?
Where was I? Something points dropped.
B minus, yeah.
B minus.
Yeah, B minus.
You're talking shit about Darmian.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I didn't. Well, with the Darmian signing, it was a bit iffy. Kolarov signing, a bit iffy as to who would come back and replace. Bring back Ivan Perisic. I potentially thought he would be like top class for us and a good replacement for Lukaku, but that hasn't worked out as well as I thought it would. As well as the exit from the Champions League, basically not being able to beat Shakhtar Donetsk in both legs that we played them, dropping the last minute draw against Real Madrid was a bit, how? But then as well as, the fact we're still second, and the fact we ended up this game or the Juve game alone was the one where we actually put in a full 100% match for both halves, as opposed to
Juve
the usual
makes
Inter
up
where
for a couple of the
half.
other drop points, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, but actually that was like the first game where we actually see play with 100% intensity, as opposed to the usual. All right, one half we play crap, one half we play good.
All right, so I want to get into, guys. Do you guys have an MVP pick to this point? You know, because for me, like I'm considering between two guys. I might go a total cop out and give co-MVPs. Am I going to be a little bit biased here towards the top two teams?
You can't give co-MVPs.
I'm going to hear me out, and then maybe you guys can help me decide if I'm way off or if one of these guys deserve it. I'm going to be a little bit biased here and lean towards the top two teams in the league because I would say that they probably deserve a shout out for one of their players to be MVP most. I'm kind of deciding between Donnarumma, who I think has just been so massive for Milan in goal. And, there are a number of Milan players who have done well. Zlatan is lethal, but he's missed so much time that it's hard for me to say MVP. I think the most consistent guy who's really probably earned the most points for Milan or salvaged the most points for Milan is Donnarumma, who's been massive. And I'm also kind of from an Inter point of view, maybe I'm leaning to this point to Barella. And a big part of that for me is just how well he played against Juventus, that I might even give him the slight edge over Lukaku to this point. So I'm kind of thinking Donnarumma and Barella. What do you think, Miguel? Milano Miguel, do you have a pick for MVP?
I didn't really have one, but as for Milan, yeah, I can totally argue and agree that Donnarumma is definitely MVP. Honorable mentions, I'd say Kier and then Kessié, because both those two players, Kier and Kessié, stepped up immensely ever since lockdown and till this day. I think Kessié has only missed one match in like the entire season. So you can see he's a workhorse. He managed to win the ball back. He's so cool, calm, and collected. When Zlatan's not there to take the penalties, he's there, and he's only missed one penalty this season. So he's done phenomenal. Kier, he's done phenomenal in defense with the Romagnoli injury, with all that happening. He came into the side. He found a way to make it work, and he's worked his ass off. You can even see, like, even when Milan were down 2-0 against Atalanta, he did everything in his power to stop Duvan Zapata from scoring. So yeah, but Donnarumma definitely up there for MVP because that man has made some ridiculous reflex saves that definitely could have cost Milan some points this season. And it's just amazing to see how much he's grown. Got his debut at 16. He's 21 now. He's had the captain's armband. You can see how vocal he is now with Milan. You'll occasionally, if you actually watch Milan games, you will hear Donnarumma yelling at his defenders, telling them where to place themselves, or we got to do better, or that's unacceptable. So he definitely, I can say he's been MVP because he's pretty much act like a third captain on the team when Romagnoli's not there.
Yeah, no doubt. Jerry, your thought, and our guy Mike No Go Zones gives the shout to Immobile. Do you agree, Jerry? Who's your MVP to this point?
He already read me like He read me really well, and this is a guy who's replicating his numbers from last year. I personally will be the first to say that I didn't think Immobile was going to do nearly as much as he did last year, and he proved me wrong. And he has scored in, I believe, in 17 of their last 19 games. Over that span, he's scored 18 goals, 6-game winners for Lazio. He's scored 3 of their winners in the last 4 games. Without Immobile, Lazio doesn't win games. We know this already. They can, but it's just not. They don't have that finisher, that person who can really make a difference for them. I'm very scared about the future when Immobile is gone, because this guy, I've never seen one player who can basically. Okay, that's Mario who keeps on sending that shit. But anyways,
Not me, I swear.
but
It's MGags 77.
with Immobile, like he's consistent. He's Mr. Consistent. I hope he does the same come Euros, but he just controls the game. And when he's not in the lineup, Lazio just looks like a very different team. And so he had COVID, didn't stop him, didn't affect him. He's been out for, I think he missed like 3 or 4 games. Still, in Champions League, he scored, I believe, 5 or 6 goals as well. It's unbelievable with what he's done this year, and his work rate. I love the way he plays. He just provides that intensity for Lazio, and he's taken the responsibility of being the captain this year. And I think he's done a great job leading by example. So for me, and if I had to choose, not just being non-biased here, like if it's not Immobile, I will go with Barella. I think Barella is my MVP if it wasn't a Lazio player. If it's not Immobile, it's Barella. I think without Barella, another player where Inter doesn't win as much games if he's not in the lineup. And I love Lukaku, and I think Romelu Lukaku is a beast, and he produces a lot of scoring. But everything is built around Barella with Inter. And if you take him out of that midfield, there is no creativity, there is no attack, there's nothing. That spark is missing. And the problem is, if he's not there, who generates the plays for Lukaku? And I know Eriksen is supposed to be that guy. I agree with you. But we know we have to be realistic, and he's not in the plans right now. So let's pretend he wasn't. Let's just pretend he wasn't part of the plans. Okay,
Can't pretend he is.
Yeah, they're stuck with him for at least another 5 more months, so they may have to make plans.
Someone's got to be the water boy, right? But anyways, point being, I just think
man's a derby champion.
If you don't have Barella, even if you have Eriksen in the lineup, Barella is not. He can't compare it to Barella, and what he's been able to do this year at both ends has been remarkable. So, for me, it would be Barella if it's not Immobile. That's the way I look at it. But Immobile is my pick first.
All right, let me go next to Ricky. Hopefully he doesn't lose the connect. So who's been your MVP so far this year?
The internet over here.
It's probably been Barella with 3 out of. Well, if I had to pick 3, it'd be Barella, Lukaku, since he saved our ass this season at crucial points, and then Donnarumma, which I'm still surprised he's only 21. It feels like he's been there for a while.
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is. He should be 30 by now.
Nobody wanted him.
21. Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought he was 25. I was like, whoa, he's 21.
Oh.
Feels like he's been there for like 5 years.
Older than Handanovic, so we can get this guy off of Milan, but no, he's so young. Well, what about you, Mario? Who's your MVP?
For Inter, it has to be Barella, but I think because Milan's in first place, it has to be Milan player for me right now. So I was thinking someone like Kessie. I think he's been excellent this year. I said it last year when they were struggling. I said, this guy's good. The only problem is the ball does not go into the net. When they had Piontek and all of them, the problem wasn't that they weren't playing good or nothing. The results just weren't falling in their favor. And Kessie, I was watching him play. What?
We couldn't find the back of the net in that era.
That's exactly what it was. Piontek was one-on-one. The goal was it was like a Lautaro situation. It was one-on-one with the goalie, open goal, and he puts it wide. He puts it into the goalie's hand. It was stupid shit. Kessie in the 6-yard box would hit the crossbar and they'd clear for a throw. But he's been excellent this year. He's been one of the top 3 players in my opinion. Him, Donnarumma's been great. He's been the best goalie in the league probably by far. But then. Fuck, I just talked shit about Alex not being able to pick someone. Now I can't pick someone. Then the third one is Agyei because of Palermo. And if you haven't talked to me, the Palermo syndrome is real. It's a real freaking thing. The more Palermo players you have in your lineup, the better you are going to do. Except for Torino, they suck. Agyei was an animal for Palermo. He went to Roma. They became a decent team. And now he's at Milan, finally circling back. And he's starting. Since they've signed him, they haven't lost a game since they've signed Agyei, if I am correct. Until obviously the other day, but he's been one of the best center backs in the league, if not the best, with De Vrij and Messi Acerbi over here now, freaking scoring goals like he's Messi and Maradona.
Should be a wing back. If he had the speed, he'd be a good wing back, man.
So good. He's phenomenal, that guy. I love him. I love watching him play.
You know what they call him? It's weird. I was listening to the Zonal marking, and they call a guy like Francesco Acerbi the inverted wing back, the inverted center back.
Yeah.
Where a lot of center, like a lot of left center backs are becoming more predominant, and there'll be more. Yeah, like they rely on their left foot. Apparently, left-footed players are much more efficient than right-footed players. Just the way they play the game, the way they're able to shield the ball off. They have a better advantage. Everything. It's just everything they do. I don't know how to explain it because I would have to listen to the whole podcast, but there's stats that show that a left-footed player has better accuracy to get the ball into the box. And I think it's the angle of where they're delivering it from and how they're able to. But I just want to before I forget, I want to answer Joseph's question about why I think he can't produce for a national team. And I feel bad if I don't answer this. And I'll just say it straight up. It's because Italy doesn't play a 3-5-2. That's it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Immobile, and it's not just Immobile. I want people to understand. If you play every day a 3-5-2 system and you are adapted to a certain way of how you play, and then you go play 4-3-3 with Italy, and you're playing a whole new system, whole new role as a striker. You're going into a different world now. How do you adapt? And you don't have the time to frequently adjust to that switch. What's made Immobile so successful since joining Lazio is playing in a 2-man up front. He has more space. He likes to play off the pass. A guy like Alberto needs to be on Italy where he can play in stride in the midfield, and he plays on the left side. Immobile likes to play on the left side, doesn't like to play right in the middle up front in the box. He's too stagnated. There's no space for him to move or anything. He's not that mobile, like he can win challenges. When you watch 4-3-3 Italy, it doesn't look good for him. He just looks lost, and I feel bad for him because he gets shit on, and they're like, oh, well, his job is to score. Well, how the heck is your job to score if you're not playing the proper system for him? And I hate when people say, well, he has to adapt. He's a striker. He has to go. When has Italy tried a handful of times, at least once or twice, to see how 3-5-2 works with this team? Just to experiment. I don't see an issue, man. I don't see an issue with this. Yeah. It's friendly games for a reason. A friendly game is not to use 4-3-3 6 more times. It's to see what you have and what works differently. And differently would be 3-5-2. Even for a Bastoni in a 3-5-2 would be perfect for Italy, along with Acerbi. Can you imagine a 3-5-2 with Acerbi and Bastoni in the back end? Unbelievable, man. I just don't get it, man. I don't like it. I hate when players and a prime example, and we've seen it was, I'll say Chelsea. Timo Werner is a center forward, and he played as a winger, and people are shitting on him. Obviously, he's not going to score goals if you're playing him out of position in a 4-3-3 when he's really a natural center forward. If you know your players are to a certain position, play them in a certain position. Why are you being a smart ass and play them out of position? I don't get it, man. These guys get paid millions of dollars to make stupid decisions. like it's
But-
just mind-boggling, man. And it's like Inter, just like Inter, you got Christian Eriksen not playing in the center in midfield. That's another example. $40 million, $20 million down the drain. You got a player, use him properly. Like,
Well, let's not talk about $20 million.
Well, I was gonna say, well, that's you have to look at it from both angles too, because you could say, well, all right, well, we need to switch the system for the striker.
oh, for fuck's sake.
no.
We're about to get another one going. All right,
Ricky,
let me just finish off with Agyei as my MVP because
Ricky,
as soon as he came off the field, they lost.
I'll let you. Did you? If you guys have finished the thought, Ricky, I'm sure is going to hop back in soon. But I wanted to go over two more topics, real quick, because I still haven't eaten dinner, so I want to chow down on some pasta here in a little. Late night pasta is like the worst thing for you, but it is what it is, man. My New Year's resolution has already gone to shit. Okay, Ricky is back. Ricky, I want to let you finish the thought, and then I'm going to move on to another topic.
What was the last thing you guys heard me say?
You just started.
Wow. Okay.
Christian
Yeah, Christian Eriksen. You could say, I mean, the system's in place already, so you could say, well, Immobile isn't suited for a 4-3-3. But I mean, what can Immobile do to adjust himself? Similar to Conte and Eriksen, Conte switched his formation around to accommodate Eriksen, but now Eriksen isn't adapting, so Eriksen needs to look at himself, go to Conte or go to some players. What can I do to adapt and maybe trying to help? So it's kind of a two-way streak. It isn't just a one-sided issue.
Right.
You're right.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, you're playing every day. You're playing every week. You're training every day to adjust. With the World Cup and the Euros, you're not playing every day. You're not with the same squad every day. So you need to like adapt within a short time frame. You go for a week and you're practicing playing 2 games, and you go back to your competition. I just think it's different with league play. You have more time to adapt. You have more trial and error. With like the Europeans and the World Cups, you don't have that kind of time. And when you do have those friendlies, that's when I would agree with you if it was both ways. They've only done 4-3-3 and never have tried to adapt to Immobile to see. Let's see if a 3-5-2 works for everyone, not just for Immobile. Do we get better results out of that? I do agree with you, but I just think that when you're looking at Serie A and you have all the time frame, it's, I don't know. There goes my summer body. I'm eating late night pasta.
Like me, as soon as we wrap up, I'm eating late night pasta. So that's the worst, man. The carbs just settle right in the gut.
A lot of the players are already accustomed to the 3-5-2 as it is, if you look at it. Because look, half the national team is Inter, Juve, and Lazio players, I guess you could say now. Because there's only 11, whatever. So you have Bastoni, who's probably going to be in center back in next year or two. He plays in 3-5-2 with Conte. Chiellini, Bonucci, they played in a 3-5-2 for God knows how long under Conte also. Then you have Barella, 3-5-2. You have Immobile, 3-5-2. That already is half the lineup, 3-5-2. And then does Roma play a 3-5-2 often? I don't think they
have. Yeah.
There you go. You have Zaniolo.
Yeah.
Florenzi, whatever. You have the players.
Chiesa played in a 3-5-2 for a while in Fiorentina also.
There you go. Chiesa on the right side. Bernardeschi on the left side, whatever the case is. All these players
what
are
about
familiar.
Berardi at Torino?
Torino plays a 3-5-2. Yeah.
I think
Right.
can play in a true front with them. I would like to see him play up front with Immobile in a 3-5-2. I think that can work, man. I think a lot of people doubt me on that. I don't know.
Didn't they play 3-5-2 when Belotti and Immobile were at Torino? They had what's his name too?
Yeah, I think so.
And Mazzari is the coach. Isn't they?
Alicio Cerci was there too.
Oh, freaking! That's like 6-7 years ago, man.
Yeah, that was back in the day.
Yeah.
Good memory, man.
Well, but I want to close out because we gave our MVPs. I want to also give our coach of the season shouts so far. I'm not going to straddle the fence on this one. I am going to settle on one, but I'm going to tell you the 2 coaches that I strongly considered. Obviously, I had to consider Stefano Pioli. I mean, he's got his team in first place. Milan have been overperforming the expectations going back to last season. So, of course, Pioli gets a shout. I'm, though, going to give actually the edge here to Ivan Juric at Verona. And I know, hey, listen, Verona's not in the top 4 right now. They're not competing for a Scudetto. But that freaking team, there is no manager that gets more out of less than Ivan Juric. I mean, you look at their wage bill compared to, the top 4, top 6 teams, the guys that they lost in the transfer window. I mean, you lost both of your starting center backs, Ramani and Kumbula. You lost Amrabat. I mean, these guys lost a ton of players in the last transfer window. And so people thought, Verona, they got worse. They're going to end up being like fighting relegation. And they've gotten better results against the top 6 teams than any of the top 6 teams have gotten against each other. Like it's crazy how overperforming Verona is considering how little they have. So yeah, I mean by that metric, I'm going to go with Juric as coach of the year so far. What do you think, Jerry?
You're gonna hate. I like Pioli.
Inzaghi.
I like Pioli. Yeah, and I do like Inzaghi.
You
Absolutely.
love Conte too.
Conte,
I'm
the
actually
best
gonna
manager in the
agree.
world.
I love Conte. I think it was great to see him win on Tuesday, man. Like anytime I see Conte get the upper hand, I love it, man. Did he deserve probably to win Tuesday? Maybe not, but I don't care. I just like the guy personally, but I do like the shout for Verona, but I'm gonna say Inzaghi just because this is a team at the beginning of the year where like I said, I don't know, Mario's not gonna like it. I can give a shit what he thinks, but
You should give a shit what I think. I live rent free in your head, Jerry. He has to cater his opinion towards whether my liking or not.
I just think a guy like Inzaghi who's always been reliant on his starting 11 where Immobile, Luis Alberto, Savage, and consistently gets the most out of these players season after season. I think is impressive. And the fact that they've always been questioned about their depth, and he's overcome so many obstacles with so many injuries, having no players available. He went through a period where he didn't have Immobile in the lineup, Alberto in the lineup. Lazzari was in the lineup. He had up to 11 guys out, and he still got draws, wins. So to me, and the biggest thing is that he has them right at the top, near a top 4 spot after everything that's gone in the season, and we're starting to see their form. But if it's like that's not my true number 1 pick. That's my number 2 pick. I'm going with Stefano Pioli. I think that Pioli has given them that identity that they've been missing for so many seasons. They finally have a philosophy there. They finally have a winning mentality. This team's and I love what Gattuso did with Milan. I think that he was a good leader, a good ambassador. But the tactic part was always the issue when it came with Gattuso, and that's something that you learn over time. With Pioli, he's brought them back to the top, and what has Milan have been grateful for in the past decade prior to season when the season resumed last year? Nothing. Absolutely nothing to be grateful about. Everyone sucked. It didn't matter. The only thing that worked well for Milan in the last 4 years was Gigi Donnarumma. If it wasn't for him, they'd probably be even further down the standings. And I guarantee you Miguel will probably agree with that. He's been the leader of that team. Probably who knows how many big saves he's made in the past years to help them win games. All of a sudden, you got a coach who actually is not afraid to speak up, is not afraid to put an actual formation in line that people can understand, using players the right way, giving people confidence to go on the field and play. Look when they beat Lazio. Did you see what they did, how they celebrated? They pretend that the fans were in the curva and they were celebrating as if their fans were there. There's a family there. That's something that Inzaghi has instilled at Lazio, and you're starting to see that with Milan. And I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of teams lack, is having that foundation where players fight for each other and the managers fight for the players. There's that cohesiveness where there's a unity, and a lot of teams lack that. And with Milan and Lazio, I think there's a similarity here. And Pioli actually mentioned that his time with Lazio actually helped him to become a better manager, and how it didn't end well. And coming to Milan, he took his past experiences and brought it there and made it better this time. So that's to me as a manager who's taking accountability of where he went wrong, went to a new team and made it better this time. So I will give it to Pioli because he can, and this is a guy who keeps on winning with those Zlatan. When Zlatan's not in the lineup, they still win games. When Zlatan's in the lineup, they win games. There's a combination of everything. It's a team that fights for each other, like I said before, man. And that's why I respect Milan. I hate Milan because of my friend, because of bantering. Because 20 years of bantering just made me hate them. But if I take, I don't let the hatred cloud my mind to know that Milan is probably. I thought they were a Europa League team this year before everything started, but they're much better than a Europa League team. And that all comes from the manager. That's just how I break it down.
Well said. What about you, Ricky? Who's your coach of the year so far, your manager of the year so far in Serie A?
I'd probably have to give it to Stefan Pioli. Also, because I was part of the bandwagon of everyone writing him off going into the next season. Everything's going to be a disaster for Milan, and he wouldn't be able to pull out results like this, or it's all going to fall apart, and Milan's going to be in tatters. But he's proven me wrong. Sitting up top on first. But as well as the fact they've been able to still grind out results and get a lot of results that we kind of didn't expect them to do, or we thought they'd drop points. Next game they're going to lose this. Next game they're going to drop points. They still managed to get results even with the injuries they've had, even with COVID restricting them. They've still been able to pull that out of the bag. So I'd give it to Pioli.
Yeah, well said. What about you, Miguel?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with everyone. As a Milanista, I've seen it all. Stefano Pioli came in, and a lot of Milanisti were crying out, "Why didn't we sign Spalletti? This, and that." But I was one of the few Milanisti that was like, "Okay, let's give this guy a chance." We gave him a chance. His first couple of games, he got some results, but you could see that there was still a lack of cohesiveness and a lack of him having his philosophy on the team. And we see how after that lockdown period, when Serie A resumed, that mentality that Pioli wanted to instill into this team, he put it into them. And since then, it's been all gas, no brakes. You have to give credit to him, especially because towards the end of the season, the guy was literally being asked by the media, "How do you feel about Ralf Rangnick coming in? How do you feel about your job not being secure?" And under every circumstance, this guy stayed professional. This guy managed to pull the results. He said, "Hey, I'm the manager right now. We're worried about the next game. We got the result this game. We're going to worry about the next one. And what happens, happens." We've seen many managers over the year have issues like this. Conte has his issues with the media and lashing out and talking about the management, this, and that. But Pioli hasn't done any of that. And you have to give him utmost respect because the guy was honestly, he wasn't given a chance when he first came in. And now that he's proved himself, it just makes it 100 times better. And I'd also like to shout out Juric because, yeah, man, he lost basically his entire starting lineup. And I said it last year. I was like, Verona's a really good team. Don't count them out. But after losing all those players, I was like, they might drop a little bit in the table. But he has managed to find it. He fixed it, whether it's getting not Di Lorenzo, what's his name? Valentino, I think.
Oh, I'm drawing a blank too.
Wait, who's
Yeah.
the guard?
From Verona, Valentino, right? The defender. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, he managed to get his starting lineup in, and they have Kalinic as their striker. I don't know how they managed to.
Milan legend.
Fucking stinks. He fucking reeks. He sucked at Roma. He sucked at fucking Verona. Where is he going now? Is he going somewhere else? He stinks. Stinks. That guy stinks.
But yeah, for a guy to lose pretty much his starting lineup and to steady the ship and pull results against top 6, top 8 teams like they've done, you got to give him a massive shout out, honestly.
Mario, I'll give you the last word. Coach of the year so far. Can you make the case for Pirlo? What about Conte?
Conte is underperforming. Like, I was just looking at the standings, and all the top from 2 until 7, all those teams are underperforming, in my opinion. Which leaves Pioli as obviously the best coach of the year because he's been working wonders with Milan, and then Ivan Juric the second. The guy has a defensive masterclass on his hands, and they just sold one of their best players, Mattia Zaccagni, to Napoli. If that's official yet, but that's probably going to be confirmed shortly. But 10 million for a solid midfielder who, once again, Napoli signing people they don't really need. But we can say that for next time. Pioli and then Ivan Juric as a second. That guy is good. He's working miracles for MLS. They don't belong stealing points off the top teams. There they are. They got no money. They got nothing. That guy deserves a medal.
Yeah, well said. Oh wait, let me let Ricky back in. Here we go.
I want to touch one more point about Pioli, and I think a lot of people forget his time with Fiorentina and what he did when Davide Astori passed away, and how
that's a great shout.
How he dealt with the situation. And I'm looking at his track record. This is the difference. Milan went after a short-term manager that didn't just manage pioneer freaking clubs. He managed some decent teams. Inter, prior to that, Fiorentina, Lazio, Bologna. Like, they're not bad teams. And like his last 5 teams he managed. He was at Palermo, and I think that his track record speaks for itself. Where they went after a guy who had a lot of experience, and I think the most important thing is, and I think Maldini really put this into consideration, is that they hired somebody who dealt with a difficult situation at Fiorentina, and if he was able to keep that team together, and there was they were like a unity. And I think he should never have been fired. I think that was the biggest mistake bringing Montella in because he killed that team. But yeah, I absolutely agree. I don't think he'll ever get a job again. If he does, it'll be Serie D. But anyways, freaking that experience, things like that where managers go through and have to learn and adapt. And then you go to Milan, it's a similar situation. Where everyone's against you. They don't think you can do it again, bring the team together, like you said, all valid points, and he overcame it. And I do agree with Verona as well. It's a good shutout. But I'll go with Milan because I think the obstacles with Milan were much greater compared to Verona, where you had a team that was just broken apart. You had Marco Giampaolo. I don't know how that guy here. I want to ask you a question. How do these managers? No, not just him. There's a lot of managers that are a joke, not just him. I want to know how these idiots get recyced and reused. Like they get fired, they go to the next Inzaghi. You'll never find a guy like Inzaghi who will be out of team for 8 years in a row. You'll never find a manager that will have that long of a term. I think if he finishes out his new contract, he'll be the longest term on a team since Roberto Mancini.
I meant people in Zaghi. Continue.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. That's what you meant.
Why are you gonna get excited for? Why you gotta jump for because I say Inzaghi?
Because
it's a reflex for him.
I love Inzaghi, man. I love the guy, man. Like I like managers who are able to build and build, like, create something. I think Pioli can be the next Milan manager where he can be there for 2, 3, 4 years at least and build something with this team and actually win stuff like Lazio have done the last 4 years. Seriously, I think Milan's on the right track of winning something.
So you like Conte?
Sorry?
So you like Conte too then?
He does.
I love Conte.
He literally does. Like, it's not even a joke. He loves Conte. He loves Conte more than I do. Because, like, there are some days when I like Conte, some days when I hate him. Jerry's consistent.
Jerry always loves Conte. I'm surprised Conte wasn't your manager of the year.
No,
I know. I was hoping he would say that.
Why wouldn't you say that?
Why? Because I just think that Pioli, the obstacles of what Pioli had to do, no other manager did this year. Maybe Juricic, like you said, because of injury.
Conte's building Inter.
Yeah, but he started that last year.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Sure,
He's building a retirement home.
That's been built for 2 years.
He's building it. They will come.
Well, listen,
we can do this all night, man. Fuck.
Well, I was gonna say I gotta close it out. But we can continue the conversation another time because I really enjoyed everybody. I enjoyed the dynamic, and I want to send out a huge thank you. This is the first time we've ever done a live. I mean, we've been putting out obviously podcasts for a really long time, videos for not as long of a time. This is the first time we've ever done a live. So, to everyone who's actually hopped in and watched it, we were only putting this through the YouTube channel. I think in the future, we're going to start doing it through Facebook and maybe Instagram as well, just to even like broaden the scope a little bit. But I had a lot of fun. I'm very humbled by the fact that so many people came in and interacted. It was really awesome. And of course, everybody on the panel today, huge thanks to Milano Miguel, to Jerry Mancini, to Mario Gagliano, and to Ricky Buzz. And a special thanks to Ricky because he kind of got the whole crew together. It was Ricky's idea to do a mid-season review. So a special shout out there. So we're going to talk to everybody another time. Jerry and I, I'm sure, are going to be back probably around the weekend for another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. Ciao.
Bye-bye.